Things that used to be acceptable but are now banned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Again, we are on the Recollection channel. Just trying to, I don't know how far back they're going, and I don't know how recent it's going to be, but we'll see. Appreciate all the love and support. I'll leave the link to their channel in the description. Shout out to all the good humans. Link is always in the description for those who are asking, man. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it. If I remember any of this.
Seatbelts have been mandatory in most countries for decades, but before laws were passed requiring drivers to wear them, it was common for people to get inside their car and not even consider strapping on a seatbelt. Even children were allowed to ride in the back of the station wagon or pickup truck without any kind of restraints. As recently as the 1980s, only a small percentage of people actually used them, and that's years after they were mandated to be installed in every car back in 1968. After studies showed that seatbelt use could greatly reduce the risk of injury or death during an accident, laws were put into place to make it mandatory. Now, over 90% of people wear their seatbelt, but if you are over 18 and you want the freedom to not buckle,
still ain't gonna get it at 100 overnight. That's crazy that it took that long. That really is crazy, though. It took that long.
90% of people wear their seatbelt, but if you are over 18 and you want the freedom to not buckle up, there is still one state where you can live free or die, and that's New Hampshire, where they live by that motto.
Man.
Smoking used to be very common, and pretty much everybody would light up. This was a time when you could smoke anywhere, in restaurants, on airplanes, and even in hospitals. Many of these places even supplied matches for their customers, just in case they didn't have a lighter. Over the years, smoking and the side effects associated with the habit became more clear, and dangerous warning labels were applied to the packaging. Things like lung cancer and heart disease were among the most damaging, and with that, laws were put into place to limit smoking in public places, or they were banned altogether. These laws have helped reduce exposure to secondhand smoke, and have also worked to reduce the number of people who smoke in general. Well, that and the fact that cigarettes are heavily taxed, making it an expensive habit. Bicycle helmets have been around for a long time, but it took a long time for them to catch on. Prior to the 2000s, children could be found riding their bikes around their neighborhoods without any head protection.
Look at me.
The helmet was almost laughable if you were caught wearing one by your friends. But as the risk of head injuries became a bigger societal concern, they began to show up on the heads of younger riders, and they just never left. Today, wearing a helmet while riding your bike is commonplace and seen as just another basic safety measure. Coincidentally, you also see less children riding bikes around the neighborhood, so gone are the days when you could tell where all your friends were just by looking at the pile of bicycles in the front yard. Physical punishment, like getting a spanking, was once the primary form of discipline for many families. Some people got swatted with a hand.
So this video is a little similar to the one I seen. The title is different, but it's a little similar. I mean, I'm seeing different photos and stuff, but yeah.
While others got a belt, a switch, or even a wooden spoon. And if you were like me, you may have gotten a little bit of everything. Over the years, punishments like this have become taboo because of the fear of child abuse.
Yeah.
Some believe that spankings may lead to feelings of anger and resentment, while others insist it kept children in line.
It sure
did. Either way, out of concern for a child's well-being, discipline has shifted drastically to something much less physical. Timeouts are now what happens when you act up, and I would imagine that taking away privileges like tablets and cell phones is a close second.
Yeah.
Remember when you would ride in the car with your parents to run errands? Many of us do, and it was pretty common for the kids to wait in the car while mom or dad ran inside. Unattended children in cars with the windows down was all too common back in the day, but lately this practice is frowned upon. I'm not sure if it's the fear of kidnapping or the dangers of extreme temperatures, but this is something you rarely see nowadays. Stories on the news of children suffering from heat stroke or even death hasn't helped, and some states have even implemented laws prohibiting parents altogether from leaving their children in the car by themselves.
Yeah.
Just a couple decades ago, the thought of packing a peanut butter sandwich in your lunch was considered a great idea. It's hard to believe that this would ever change. But with allergic reactions to peanuts becoming dangerous for those exposed, things have indeed changed. Many schools, airlines, and businesses have banned peanuts and any peanut product from being served so that people with peanut allergies don't have to worry about keeping an EpiPen close by. For some, the allergic reaction can be life-threatening. So those innocent school lunches that included a peanut butter sandwich now look a little bit different than they used to.
Yeah, this wasn't in there. I've never been allergic to peanuts.
Over the years, many baby products have been banned due to safety concerns. For instance, a standard baby crib that was once considered safe was scrutinized in just about every way in the name of safety. The firmness of the mattress, the bedding, the decorations around the crib, and even the position that newborn babies sleep have been completely updated. Not to mention drop-side cribs, which were the ones that had one side that could be dropped down, were found to pose a risk of entrapment or strangulation for infants. These concerns, along with sudden infant death syndrome, have been the driving force behind regulations that affect these now banned baby products. The days of recess games like dodgeball and Red Rover, which were once popular on playgrounds.
Funny, quick story. A lot of you may not know this, but back in the day, I used to work at Babies R Us, Toys R Us. When it's the store connected, and I worked on a Babies R Us side, man, I used to sell so many cribs, so many. Oh, I can remember that. I was working at Home Depot and Babies R Us at the same time. Boy, boy, boy. Those were the days. I used to be tired because they used to take me in the back and be like, we need you to get this big old box down. They wanted me to do everything.
Grounds across the country are now considered too rough. With safety concerns tightening, physical education now looks quite different. Dodgeball in particular was found to be too aggressive and potentially dangerous, with some children suffering from concussions and even broken bones. And Red Rover was also found to pose a risk of injury, with some children getting hurt while running or being tackled. As the years pass, it seems like everything has become about minimizing risk, and I would imagine the lawsuits filed by some parents have also been a contributing factor. Mercury was once a common substance used in thermometers and even light switches, and for some children, it was also fun to play with. Science classes would often use it in experiments, but that was before it was discovered that mercury can be extremely hazardous to human health, especially when it is inhaled or ingested. Exposure to mercury can cause a range of health problems, including neurological damage, respiratory issues, and kidney damage. With that in mind, mercury has been phased out completely for use in fever thermometers, and numerous states have even banned it completely. Three-wheeler ATVs were once a popular recreational vehicle, especially for children. However, in 1988, they were banned after numerous injuries occurred after the three-wheeler rolled over. They became known as unstable and prone to flipping, which effectively made them illegal to purchase in the U.S. The ban was pretty immediate too, following a slew of reports of accidents that led to serious injuries or death. Now,
I remember my older brother had a scooter, and he fell, messed his leg up in the side of his face, but never had one of these. I don't even think I've ever rode one of these, as I'm starting to think. Oh, wait, as a kid, I might have had that little electric one. As a kid, was it a 3 or a 4? Four-wheeler, I can't remember. So they don't have these anymore. Huh.
Now, adventure seekers opt for the safer four-wheel ATV for all of their off-roading. Silicone breast implants were once the most popular cosmetic surgery around. Women during the 1980s and 1990s who were seeking larger, natural-looking enhancements opted for these type of implants because of the way they looked and felt. But after some women began to experience health issues, it was discovered that their implants had actually ruptured, and the silicone was leaking into their body, causing autoimmune disorders. As a result, silicone breast implants were banned in the US in the early 1990s, but they were later reapproved after further studies showed that they were safe. Still, many women...
I was finna say, because I was like, wait a minute, I thought these things were still here. Leaking into their bodies, man. That is crazy.
Later reapproved after further studies showed that they were safe. Still, many women today opt for saline implants rather than silicone. Lawn darts was once a fun outdoor game played by many families. The heavy, pointed darts were designed to stick into the ground when tossed in the air, but they ended up posing a serious risk of injury to children.
Yeah.
During the 1970s, warning labels were added to the packaging in an effort to make them safer. But after thousands of reported injuries, and even some deaths, lawn darts were eventually banned outright in 1988. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and maybe even consider supporting the channel over on Patreon.
I never had those. I feel like I had a lot of stuff as a kid, like from maybe, when you're actually able to start playing with stuff. But as a teenager, no. As a kid, I can close my eyes. I can remember G.I. Joes, because we had 2 sets of bunk beds in our room. And I remember I took a string and tied it to the side, and I used to take the G.I. Joes and make them like slide over. I had a bike. We had a basketball court. But as I'm thinking, it's like these right here are even dangerous for adults today. Like, look how pointy that is. And you know how you always got that one person who wants to like throw it right to your eye and then apologize later. Yeah, man. Now everybody they probably play these games on their phone now. Nobody really plays anymore. It's crazy, man. The 70s and the 80s. That's where most of the like playing outside went down. Then it just stopped. Like if I walk out my house right now, because it's a few kids in the neighborhood. Hell, they don't even ride bikes through the neighborhood. There's a park like across the street. I mean, parents take their kids there and they be playing in the park and basketball and stuff, but like you don't see kids like, I grew up in apartments. So you can find me somewhere playing with mud or yeah. But now, I mean, you got to supervise your kids because it's crazy out there. Crazy. But all right, again, appreciate y'all coming over and watching. Hope you guys are commenting down below. More nostalgia. Shout out to the Recollection Road for the video. Peace out.